Boys! Guess who's finishing another fucking volume? I don't know, not me. I'm reading this bitch forever. It's never gonna end. Fuck's sake, seriously nothing? Jesus. I'm good, Exos. How you doing, man? I got a slight tickle in my throat, though. I'm not gonna lie. It's fucking annoying. But Ricky doesn't get any worse than that. It'll be fine. Flag, how's it going, man? You watched the Odyssey? I have not, bro. I'm gonna try to watch it over the weekend. I've not seen it yet. No spoilers, please. I know vaguely the story because I know of the book. I've not read the book either. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've not read the Odyssey or the Iliad. I'm uncultured, I believe is the word. Roaring. What was that last stream about me being a fake fan, not being in the finale? Said a sharp when I watched the VOD. Music a little loud too? Really? What if you're straight as 1,000 years old? Okay, bro. Oh, I'm sorry. So I can be like, oh well, Lord of the Mysteries finished 7 years ago. I don't need to put spoiler warnings. I can just talk about it. Oh, suddenly we have fucking problems if it's a fucking story you care about, huh? Oh, fucking weird how that works. Hey, Hope, man, how's it going? Well, I don't. Not me, man. You're confusing me. Someone else. I would never say that. What? It's not like you almost made me not want to read the story on stream again. 2,500 versus 7 years. Oh, wow. What's the cutoff, MX? If it was 38 years, would that be okay? If it was 42, would that? How many bitcoins do you have? I have exactly 0 bitcoin. I don't believe in cryptocurrency, okay? I don't understand the utility of it. It's literally just for criminals to move their money. Rash. Hives. You get chicken out in the end. See, Hope? I would not say that to you, but if I did, you get why. Itching redness. Are you not a criminal? I'm a smooth criminal. But I'm a criminal because of how smooth I am, not because I commit crimes. I pay my dues to society, okay? Listen, I don't want to be successful. One, I don't think you can be a successful criminal. I feel like that's an oxymoron. Secondly, I don't want to... Music is too loud? Are you guys lying? 2 people have said this. How? The limiter is... It's so weird. The limiter is set where it's set. Okay, if I bring my volume up, is this better if I just bring my volume up here? Like if I just speak here, is that better now? I joke about recommending Mushoka Bear to Shadarita. But a story about a man fucking 4 women? I'm good, bro. Wrong heroes. Stuff a zebra has? Holes, pin, par, strokes. Stuff for like golf. Par, hole, strokes, score. I know he has 2 wives for sure. He has Sylvie and Roxy, I want to say. It's been a while since I've seen Mushoku Tensei. Eris is coming this season? Oh, does he marry Eris too? I mean, it makes sense. No idea I'm LARPing. Okay, bro. Don't say why wouldn't he? Mushoku Tensei. Rudy is in top 5 in fiction. I get it. Not saying right or wrong, but I get it. And then he goes here, I go here. That's mate. Well, no, he goes here, that's mate. Bug, holy crap. Long time no see, buddy. How you doing? That starts off at Plague. That's not a bad person. I'm sorry. You have to, at some point, yes, at some point I have to say, listen, you're irredeemable. I'm not the Christian God, okay? I don't have infinite kindness. I'm not gonna just be like, well, you know, you can get better. I'm not fucking Jesus, okay? At some point I have to say, listen, you are genuinely irredeemable. Like, if you want to argue, I can't argue about this. I'm sorry. If you want to talk about it more off stream, I'm happy to. I get it. But what I can say on stream is like really would get my channel deleted. Okay. Is it this? Alright, we're talking about Rudius from Mushoku Tensei being irredeemable. Like saying like I can't Plague is arguing that like, well, you know, he started off as a bad person. You can but you know, he redeems himself. But I'm like at some point there has to be a limit where you say like, listen, I find that irredeemable. Like there has to be some where you have to say, listen, fuck, God, I gotta stop talking. Where you gotta be like, listen, I can't. Like I don't have infinite kindness in my heart. At some point I have to say, listen, I can't. Just take the night. Oh, that's actually a great comparison. Hope, like, would you be like, well, if you made a story about that person, I'm not gonna say the name on stream, but you can read Hope's message, and would you be like, oh, well, you know, just because he started off as a bad person, like, but like, what if he lived? Like, couldn't he redeem him? No, I'm sorry, he couldn't redeem himself. There's not enough good in the universe he could have done to fucking redeem himself. I'm sorry. like, I'm not saying he is him. I'm not saying he and him are the same person. But what I am saying is there is something that you think is like, okay, that's irredeemable. I'm not gonna defend it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, you know, like, you can better yourself. No. I'm sorry. Listen, if you have a tendency to do that, I'm sorry. But I'm gonna take you out back and just... Alright, I'm sorry, but like, there are some places where you have to go, I'm sorry, like, we have to... I'm sorry. New season finally, something to rewatch. Okay. Alright, Hope. Alright, Plank. There's no point. There's no point in us continue. Listen, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm not. That's totally fine. I disagree. That's all. That's a great... MX, that's a great way to put it. Okay, maybe that's more intuitive than the way I've been speaking. Yes, I believe in redemption. I understand it. I just don't think he deserves it. How's that? That's a great way to put it. Maybe that's more intuitive. Chris, how's it going, bud? I'm gonna end on 10:36, Chris. But yes, I'm aware. Kami's not here yet, so we'll give it another like 5 minutes or so, and then if not, then we'll start. Okay. I've read 2/3 of... Oh, Kami's here. Let's go! Let's eat into the next batch of chapters. I'm sorry, but like, I'm gonna be trying to do the... What the fuck? I'm gonna be trying to do the 12 chapters a day. So I gotta... Thank you, Kami. That's even worse. Oh my god, 8:23. Garbage. Ew. Ew. What do we play now? What do we play now? Let's play a chess game real quick. Wait, no, Kami's here. Let's just start. Let's just start here. Let's just start. Kami's here. What am I doing? Oh, do you guys want to see something really cool? Nah, okay, I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm gonna do it later. I'm a bad person. I'm gonna do it later. Tomorrow is 10:37 to 10:47. Dope. 7 is way better than 6, thank God! 6 was rough, I'm not gonna lie to you, 6 was rough. There were times at 6 where I was like, fuck, man, Jesus, get it. whole thing up for me. I'm supposed to be defending this book to Sal in like 2 weeks' time, and you're making this really difficult. Fuck. Bro, the ending of 7 left me paralyzed for days. Well, I have 1 day to be paralyzed by it, and then I gotta start reading the next day because I gotta get this shit done. We might have like 6 more if we were Chinese. That's racist. Okay, Pug? You think they're different than you? You think they're different as humans than you? We don't stand for that. How dare you? Put him in timeout, boys. Give him a minute to think about his actions. God. So inconsiderate. Jesus. Don't be reductive. Chris, no! I was kidding. Not a coincidence. So it was intentional. I've been taken out back. I might be a bit of Amon Kami's job. Okay, you totally could though, because I just joined the room. I don't even look who's playing shit. Not a coincidence. So it was intentional. Did the original God Almighty express a certain scene while dying and disintegrating and make a corresponding arrangement? LEMMiNO revealed a thoughtful answer. Thank you for your answer, great Eridas. This is referring to how Eridas was born when the previous God Almighty was... when Celestial Worthy was trying to use people, I believe. Or God Almighty. I can't... Celestial Worthy, I feel like, but whatever. Might have been God Almighty. This was the answer he wanted. This was indirectly confirming that the Celestial Worthy was trying to use the Mirror People. Primordial God Almighty, I see. Thank you. The surface of the magic mirror rippled, and blood-red ancient Fasak words outlined again. Based on the principle of reciprocity, it is my turn to ask. If you answer incorrectly or lie, you shall be punished. Are you prepared to be scared out of your wits by that individual? What a gentle question, Anthony thought. Then he realized this seemed more like a hint to Lumin that the upcoming actions might directly face the Celestial Worthy or his consciousness. I am, Lumin answered. I'll ask the other 2 questions later, he said. By 11 in the morning, Frank and Jenna had arrived at the rental house in the Jinhong district and found a chair to sit in. Queen Mystic is maintaining the illusion of LEMMiNO, preventing the police from discovering that I have left, said Lumion. We must hurry. Okay, Franca said. Of course, she inevitably felt a little nervous and uneasy because if others failed, they would most likely just be kicked out of the dream, while she had a good chance of dying. I've been pondering the phrase, filter out the interference of complex information and see the most fundamental facts all day, and finally thought of a few details. Lumin smiled. One of them is that Chief Yagates has the imprint of Mr. Door and the Celestial Worthy, with maybe a bit of Amon at the most. If interfered with by complex information, one may deduce that the chief leans towards the Celestial Worthy, or that he has always been feigning neutrality, and we must avoid him. But I did stimulate Mr. Door's imprint on matters related to the Abraham family and our purpose for entering the Dream City, preventing me from being kicked out. Moreover, the official forces of the Dream have indeed shown neutrality, being impartial and following the law, or things would have finished long ago. What is the most fundamental fact amongst this? Everyone fell into thought, and after about 10 seconds, Jenna said, The Celestial Worthy is weak? Correct! Unlike Amon, Mr. Door passed away long ago. On Chief Yagates, with the uniqueness of the Door pathway, there exists only his imprint, without external help or subsequent replenishment. And it's this imprint, along with the bit of Mr. Fool's cognition and a bit of Amon's imprint, that has managed to resist the imprint of the Celestial Worthy. This great existence, maintaining balance most of the time and even gaining the upper hand when stimulated. What does this signify? That the celestial worthy's state is much worse than imagined, and the limitations he is under is far greater than we see. This is the most fundamental fact, and why so? Klein is rocking his shit. I was just thinking it was because his imprint is just getting weaker because we're getting so close to the apocalypse now that his imprint is just genuinely starting to fade as a whole, and he's like, fuck. At this point, Lumen closed his mouth, not wanting to share speculation. Hey, you're just gonna pique our curiosity and not say anything, Franka thought. Just like, he's like authors and storytellers who leave cliffhangers. But she immediately understood. Some things can be known but not spoken? Franka asked. Didn't we already conclude earlier that except for outsiders, every manifestation in the dream is a product of the subconscious recognition of Mr. Fool and Celestial Worthy? What I want to say is, apart from the dream characters, the birds, the rats, cockroaches, earthworms, plants, buildings, and even the air in this city are all the products of Mr. Fool and the subconscious of the Celestial Worthy. We have been living in the thoughts, cognition, and consciousness of them both. So the dream city is like the cerebral cortex, with some areas active that we need to carefully avoid and not stimulate, like Zhoming-Grui, while others are in a dormant state that won't react unless we say key words. Franka was enlightened. Once spoken, it's likely to be immediately noticed by the Celestial Worthy. This not only brings attention and rejection, but may also stimulate him, allowing him to break free from his unfavorable state. Let me give an example. The fundamental fact revealed by the information on the chief aren't that hard to figure out, but even with Amon's reminders and hints, it took a long time to understand. And you and the Major Arcana holders hadn't even thought of it. Suppose there's a person who has been fooled, always feeling weak and unable to break free from limitations. In this situation, if someone tells him he's silly or stupid, won't that stimulate him to gain clarity and become powerful? This is also why Amon and that individual related to the Aurora Order don't speak directly in and out of dreams, only hinting. Some tricks no longer work once the technique is revealed. Jenna realized what Lumen was trying to express. There are two layers. First, everyone who has entered the dream is essentially receiving joint corruption from the Fool and the Celestial Worthy. It's just that these differences in the dream entry and actions taken, the degree of corruption varies and the corresponding influence will persist. Second, certain words and facts may stimulate the Celestial Worthy under similar corruption, causing him to wake up. Just assign the task to us. You needn't say anything, Jenna said. Franka and Anthony had some realization and nodded. Just as Lumen was about to assign the corresponding task to his companions, Franka's phone rang, and Franka picked it up and said, "It's a call from Lushan." Something so urgent had come up that it requires a phone call. Franka chose to answer. "Hello, Shan-Shan?" Zhoming-Grui took leave suddenly. He asked for it 20 minutes ago. I just found out. Klein took leave? Lumen could not but frown. Today is Wednesday. The day Sasha arrives in Yongdu, but her high-speed train doesn't arrive till 1:40. Klein doesn't need to take the morning off. We'd have enough time even if he left after lunch. Franka forced herself to stay calm. Don't panic. Ask Klein on WeChat, see what happened. Right, I can ask him, Lushan said. She sent a message to Klein. Why did you suddenly take leave? After a few minutes, Zhou replied, going to the high-speed rail station to pick up my sister. Your sister is coming? What time? Lushan's heart tightened. She was originally supposed to arrive after 1:30, but she said she got to her hometown high-speed rail station early and there were spare tickets, so she changed her booking and will arrive just before 12. Why did she suddenly change her booking almost 2 hours earlier? Lushan had heard from Lufu and Jianna that there may be issues with Sasha's arrival and became panicked. She didn't bother to respond to Klein and took a screenshot of the chat history and sent it to Franka. I will read the author notes, Chris, but we'll read it tomorrow. Franka in the rental apartment scanned the information on the screenshot and her body tensed. Not good. Klein is almost at the high-speed station and so is Sasha. No need to panic. There's time. We have some redundancy, Lumen smiled. His attitude infected Franka and Jenna, calming their minds and spirits a bit. Lumion then began assigning different tasks to each person, only telling them what to do, not why. After assigning the task, he used the bottle of fiction. When assigning the task, he even used the bottle of fiction, not letting other companions hear. Finally, Lumion said to Anthony, before taking Ludwig to the hospital, make a trip back to the real world and relay what I have told you to the Major Arcana holders. Let them prepare, and when the city experiences anomalies, seize the brief window of opportunity to complete that matter. Of course, the anomalies may not occur and our plan could fail. Understood, Anthony replied. Then let's go. Praise the fool! Praise the fool, everyone said. Then Franca replied, you must all be careful. Lumion nodded, and together with Jenna, walked towards the door out of the rental house. The operation had begun. After Lumion, Jenna, and Franca had each left the rental house in the Jinhong district, Anthony waited for a moment before saying to Ludwig, keep eating, I'm heading to the real world for a bit. Ludwig didn't even have time to reply and simply nodded with a mouthful of food. Anthony leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. As a dream walker, he didn't need to perform any complicated actions to simply return. After opening his eyes, Anthony rolled out of bed. At the same time, Madame Justice's voice echoed in his mind, come to the Two of Cups room. Anthony left his room and headed for Franca's, and knocked on the door. Come in, Madame Justice said. As soon as Anthony pushed open the door, he was met with multiple figures. Mr. Starr? A man in a dim corner, his eyes crimson and his chin slightly raised. A rugged-looking man with bronze skin and blue hair leaning against the minibar, holding a glass of Lanty Proof. Oh shit! We got Mr. Starr, the Bum, and Alger? Let's go! On either side of the long sofa were Madame Magician and Madame Judgment, Ma'am Hermit sitting on a single-seater sofa, Madame Justice by Franca's bed with Susie nearby, and a young man. Who the fuck is the young man by Madame Justice? Over 2 meters tall, with simple white robes, pacing at the foot of the bed. Oh, okay, obviously. I thought the young man was somehow with Justice, I apologize. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Have you something to tell us? Madame Justice turned. Anthony repeated Lumion's instructions, without leaving out a thing. I understand, Justice said. At that moment, the tall, brown-haired young man shifted his gaze to the Major Arcana holders and said in a calm voice, from now on, no one is to leave this room. Oh? As his voice echoed, the brilliant sunlight, brighter than the sky outside, flooded the bedroom, banishing all shadows and darkness. Inside the admin department of the Intis group at the tech building. Derek sealing the Tarot Club? I don't know if he sealed them. Oh, no, he's like a notary or something. Oh, can you do that with just words? Okay. Inside the admin department of the Intis group. Haha, kids can be so impulsive. Coming to Yangdu for college? Lucian sent Klein a message. This was a continuation of their earlier conversation, a way to monitor Klein's condition. Lucian believed that chatting with Klein on and off would allow her to keep abreast of his movements. While waiting for the reply, Lucian found herself unable to sit or stand, walking around. She sat, maybe a higher level sun pathway can notarize easier, maybe. Adam can rewrite reality with words? Yeah, but that's because of the author, not because of the fucking sun pathway. She sat back down, grabbed some pen and paper, hoping to ease her mind by drawing. Lucian scribbled on the paper aimlessly, and as time passed, her sketch took shape, depicting a girl guarding a black barrier, fighting off monsters. Lucian had drawn a version of herself deep into the night, standing as a protector. When she saw the half-finished drawing, she froze and pressed her lips together. She stood up and rushed to the deputy director, saying, "Director, I'd like to take half a day off." At the high-speed rail station, Lumion and Jenna stood in front of the large display, checking the exit for Sasha's train. can perform miracles by saying, I wish, your point. Yeah, but he's a miracle invoker! Hope, are you actually trying to rage bait me? He's a fucking notary, bro. Chill. I don't know what sequence. Do we know what sequence Derek is? We don't, right? Presumably 3 or something? I doubt he's a... I mean, he might be an angel, but I doubt it. More than 4? You're saying he's 5? What, are you out of your fucking mind? What are you talking about? South exit 3, arriving in 6 minutes, Jenna said, referencing the information Lucian had provided. I told you we had extra time. More is less in sequence. Then the fucking answer would be less than 3, Hope. Idiot. Idiot. Do you not know how fucking numbers work? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm being so mean to Hope today. I don't know why. No, you know what? He's been rage baiting the piss out of me for the last little bit. I do know why. Fuck you. I told you we had time, Lumen chuckled. They didn't get too close, keeping a distance 20 or 30 meters away, hiding in the taxi lane entrance while watching the target. The 2 demonesses spotted Klein. Because the Intis group had a strong air conditioning and had rushed out in a hurry, Klein was wearing a t-shirt under an orange and black plaid shirt, looking as if he had been waiting for a while. What is a high sequence beyonder? High in sequence, low in number. 2 are separate, yes? Yes? He did not say higher, he said more. More. Okay, let's do this. You want me to Google what number is more than 4? What the fuck do you think comes up, guys? Are you actually being... What are we doing here? You guys know you're wrong. Just bite the bullet. Listen, it's not even Kami's first language. We can just give him that. Google what sequence is more than 4? Kami, did you delete your message? Kami, you deleted your message! You motherfucker! Okay, I guess we're done. I guess we're done, guys. Kami was done with me wasting time with this bullshit. By the way, am I wrong? Or Klein wearing this white t-shirt and orange and black plaid shirt? This was the thing he was wearing in the artwork. The artwork where... like the train artwork? Klein was wearing this in that artwork. Neither Jenna nor Lumin spoke, quietly observing. After about 2 or 3 minutes, Jenna suddenly pointed in a direction and whispered, Lucian. Why is she here? Following Jenna's lead, Lumin saw Lucian dressed in a blouse and skirt. Glancing around. Call her over. Don't let her disturb Klein, Lumin instructed Jenna. Jenna had been thinking the same, and using her assassin footwork, quietly and discreetly approached Lucian. Lucian jumped in fright as Jenna appeared. Jenna raised her finger to her lips, signaling not to speak. Lucian closed her mouth and followed Jenna to the taxi lane. When Lucian saw who was waiting for Jenna, she could no longer contain herself and said, You, isn't this the dropout Li Ming? He's in league with Lu Fu, Jian Na, and Lumina? What a coincidence, Lumin smiled. She's the mother of the child, he gestured to Jenna. Oh, that explains everything! Suddenly, their private details about her friend dispelled so much of her tension. Why did you come? Jenna asked. I wanted to help you. I think I can be of help. Okay. For now, there's nothing else to do but observe. Okay. This was Lushan's first time taking part in an operation like this, so she had no objections. If Sasha is a problem, if she's meant to make Klein produce a stable mirror person, what would she do? Jenna thought out loud. Having experienced the events related to the hostel and Mora and Avigny, Jenna had a deep understanding of the special mirror world, knowing that to produce a stable long-term mirror person in that world, the person either had to be a descendant of the demoness or a certain Fourth Epoch Trier nobles, or must be exposed to the overflow of corruption of the special mirror world. However, in this dream city, there was no real special mirror world. It was hidden deep within the mirror world without any overflow of corruption. I don't know, Lumen said. His calm and steady tone made Lushan suddenly feel that things may not be as bad as she had imagined. And a few more minutes later, passengers started coming out of the gates. Jenna and Lushan's nerves tensed, and before long, they saw Klein smile and walk to the exit, and a young girl emerged, wearing a black dress that made her seem more mature than her age. Her suitcase was dark-colored, without any fluffy toys attached like many young women would, but instead a mechanical-looking transformer. Her backpack wasn't cute either, black, made of synthetic leather, large enough to hang a silver-white pocket watch in a vine leaf pattern. Her style is, in reality, similar to Melissa's, Jenna muttered. Lushan couldn't help but glance. When Sasha saw Klein approaching, she smiled brightly and waved. "Klein!" she greeted, and at that moment, she finally showed a bit of youthful charm. "Perfect timing. I'll take you out for a big meal," Klein grinned as he took his sister's suitcase. "Klein, I fixed the pocket watch!" From chapter 2, when he's like, "Oh, my pocket watch isn't working," he's like, "Ugh, you never take care of stuff." 2,600 chapters and we're back to this damn pocket watch. She pressed lightly on the top of the watch, and this was silver white cover popped open, and almost simultaneously, Illumine and Jenna's eyes narrowed. With her eagle-like vision, they noticed the glass on the watch face was dark, almost pure black, but still transparent enough to see hands and numbers. The glass gave Illumine and Jenna a strong sense of familiarity. A fragment of the special mirror world. They each possess such a fragment. Is Sasha planning to use that pocket watch and the fragment to make Klein generate a stable mirror person? She recalled something. The fragment of the special mirror world that Lumen possessed had come from Panatia, who had been arranged as Klein's lover and his wife eventually. Was her intended function not only to stabilize Klein's mental state, but also, after Zarto's frontal attempt failed, to use that fragment of the mirror world to corrupt Klein so a stable mirror person could be born? No wonder she has such a fragment. The celestial worthy truly does always prepare contingencies. We need to find a way to steal the pocket watch. We can't let Klein come into too much contact with it. Lumion also thought of the reanimated Panatia and said, "That pocket watch seems to hold significant value for Klein. He's holding onto it tight. Taking it from under his nose won't exactly be easy." At this point, Klein had taken the silver white pocket watch and inspected it repeatedly, looking rather pleased. Jenna understood Lumen's concern, not just difficulty, nearly impossible, and extremely risky. What Klein wanted to protect was that the dream subconscious wanted to protect. As Jenna quickly tried to think of a way to take the pocket watch from Klein, Lushan spoke. "I'll go." They both looked at her. "It's no big deal. I know Klein. We're on good terms. Close colleagues. It'll be easy for me to get close. At least easier than you two. And although he's somewhat suspicious of me and knows that I have some powers and he's picked up on my hints, he should still see me as an ally, right?" Lushan showed a lack of confidence in these matters. Before Lumen and Jenna could respond, she chuckled. "Klein may be wary, might be on guard, but he'd never suspect that my target is the silly pocket watch, and besides..." She paused for a moment. "You two are outsiders. Even if you just trigger a suspicion, you may be kicked out. But not me. I am from here. At most, I just need to be a little careful afterwards." "No. It's still dangerous," Jenna warned. "We've never tried to let someone like you confront Klein or do anything. We don't know what would happen. And judging by similar cases, you may end up a light suddenly falling from the ceiling, smashing your head and killing you, or you drop dead the moment you touch the watch." Lucian's expression turned solemn. I know. Before they could try to dissuade her further, she asked, "What's the real me like?" Jenna fell silent and answered, "She's a civilian staff at the police station. Her father was also an official beyond her, but died in a disaster. She's lovely, but a bit lazy, but her colleagues all love her, treating her like a little sister. She's married now, with a lovely child." Lucian listened and said, "Isn't that just another version of me?" "It really is. If you ever meet her, please tell her I envy her." Hearing this, Jenna felt a lump in her throat and her emotions swirled in her chest, making it impossible to speak. Also, tell her I have my own pride, and I've had my own experiences she may envy. I've been reflecting a lot lately, thinking of my past. My mother was so real, my interactions with her so real, and so was my father, and his sacrifices were just as real. My childhood, my school years, and my work experience, all those details, all those memories are real. I can still remember the smell of my mother, the taste of her food, the eggplant with pork. I remember when my father's police uniform had a hole burned by a cigarette, where he hid the snacks he bought for me. To you, this may be a dream, but to me, this couldn't be more real. They are the meaning of my existence, and because of those memories and that past, I am real, no matter how you see me. Now, I'm going to do what I have always dreamt of, and it will make me even more real. It will give my life more meaning, no longer just a dream or someone's fantasy." Before Jenna could respond, LEMMiNO said, "Okay, you approach and find a way to get the watch." Lucian was stunned, not expecting LEMMiNO to agree. In the blink of an eye, she smiled, a smile filled with pride and nostalgia. "If this dream breaks apart and you two leave alive, remember me. Will you remember that there was a Lucian and the things I did?" "I will. I'll always remember that I had a friend named Lucian. She was lovely and kind, though a bit lazy. A girl who missed her mother, but she had a strong sense of justice, just like her father." "Then that'll mean I really had lived, and my life was real. I must hurry. They're almost at the entrance of the parking lot." "Okay," LEMMiNO and Jenna replied. Lucian took a step towards the exit, but suddenly turned around, a flashing bright smile. "I, too, can be a guardian." Without waiting for a response, she turned back and ran to Klein and Sasha. She used her ability to small bursts, speeding up, moving as gracefully and nimbly as a young deer. And LEMMiNO watched her and repeated, "Guardian." Inside the Crimson Moon Hospital. In a dimly lit patient room with the curtains drawn, even though it was noon, Anthony used the last remaining mirror traversal effect on his ice charm, bringing himself and Ludwig out of the bathroom mirror. They walked over to the bed where Anthony studied Antigonus's head. There were centipede-like stitches across his scalp and his face covered with thick facial hair. Anthony turned to Ludwig and asked, "Can he be cured?" "I don't know. We'll have to try," Ludwig replied, plucking a golden mushroom from the corner of his eye and eating. The efficacy of the spores he absorbed from mushroom to heal Antigonus was uncertain and not something a gourmet typically dealt with. Anthony surveyed the room before pulling out a blank sketchbook and a pencil. He set the book down on the TV table and began sketching, and before long, he finished a drawing. A complete maze, but every path seemed blocked. Anthony tore out the sketch, packed away the remaining pages, and cautiously walked to the door. Using his psychological invisibility, he opened the door with just a crack and placed the drawing against it. The sketch shimmered for a moment, then melded against the door. With that done, Anthony observed the bustling nurses and the wandering patients before retreating back. "Begin," he said to Ludwig. Ludwig hesitated briefly before stepping forward, cautious steps. He stood next to Antigonus's bed and placed both hands on the man's head, which was covered with multiple scars and attached to many devices. In the next moment, a damp, fresh sensation emanated from Ludwig's body, making the air feel like a forest after rain. Suddenly, Anthony noticed a small lump forming under the skin of Antigonus's face, as if something was trying to push its way out. The lumps retreated, shifting a few centimeters. On the monitor, the data for the heart rate, blood pressure, and oxygen began fluctuating. There's a response. Is it enough? Anthony held his breath. He cast Placate on himself, calming himself. After 20 more seconds, Anthony noticed the room becoming even darker, though he wasn't sure if this was real or just in his mind. Then all at once, the lumps under Antigonus's skin surged to the surface, tearing through his flesh, sprouting various types of thumb-sized mushrooms. Some had milky, veined patterns, others soft and white. They kept growing, expanding, until Antigonus's entire head was covered, leaving only the eye, nose, and mouth visible. The monitors blared and the alarms went off as the data spiked. Several nurses rushed over, one leading the other, and the other pushing a medical cart. When they opened the door, they didn't see the bed or the nearby bathroom, instead, faced by the long hallway stretching to the unknown. Normally, they would have stepped back to check if they were in the wrong room, but instead they ran forward, opening door after door, trying to find the entrance to the room. Amidst the alarms, Anthony felt the room grow even darker. Ludwig withdrew his hands and stepped back to Anthony, and stared at the now mushroom-covered Antigonus, and said, "It worked." As he spoke, Antigonus, still unconscious, sat up. The appliances in the room, TV monitors, all emitting a loud, buzzing sound so intense it drowned out the alarm. At that moment, Antigonus, sitting up, opened his eyes. They were deep, dark, and weathered. In stark contrast to the mushrooms growing all over his head, his eyes looked unnervingly normal and sane. He opened his mouth and spat out countless spores and said, "Be careful." As soon as Anthony and Ludwig heard those words, they felt an overwhelming sense of oppression, the darkness around them seeming to solidify, closing in on them and pushing them out. Even with Anthony's mental fortitude and emotional control, he couldn't help but shiver, feeling the urge to flee the room. In the next second, Antigonus's voice turned sharp. "Be careful of Klein Moretti." Absolute cinema, boys! Antigonus's voice echoed through the hospital room, drowning out the alarms. As Anthony struggled to hide his shock, thunder rumbled outside. The sky over the entire dream city turned gray, as if the brilliant sunlight had been cut off by a layer of clouds. In Anthony's vision, Antigonus suddenly became blurry, sometimes expanding and or contracting, like a confusing, hazy dream. And in the next second, Anthony and Ludwig felt this dream's strong rejection, sensing their marionetization inside the high-speed rail station. Lucian caught up quickly with Klein and Sasha, intercepting them before they turned onto the road leading to the parking lot. Okay, Kami. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Kami. "Zhou Mingrui," Lushan called out. Zhou, who had already put the pocket watch in his pocket, turned around. "Why are you here?" he asked. "Weren't you just at work?" Sasha looked at Lushan, then at her brother, and smartly kept her mouth shut. "There's something important I need to tell you," she said. "What could be so important? You couldn't just message me or call me. You had to come over here." Klein remembered Lushan's previous warning and looked at his colleague. On the way over, Lushan had already decided that today's strategy would be honesty. "There's an item you shouldn't touch for now. I'm here to keep it safe for you." Taking advantage of Klein's confused thinking, she reached out her hand, using the speed of a reporter. Klein couldn't dodge in time, and Lushan snatched the pocket watch. "This is it?" Klein, who wanted to grab it back, froze, looking at the pocket watch. "This? What could be wrong with it?" This change also left Sasha confused and bewildered. "Mingrui, what's going on?" she blurted. "What are you two talking about? Are the two of you flirting?" Klein didn't answer Sasha's question, focusing on Lushan. Lushan didn't bother to conceal a thing and couldn't think of how to hint at it. "This will bring you danger," she said. "Think carefully. Isn't it different than before?" Although Lushan wasn't clear on what was wrong with the pocket watch, Jianna and Li Ming's conversation, she knew the watch was somehow linked to the mirror world. In other words, the watch was different from before. If there had been an anomaly in the past, Klein would have already had problems long ago. Klein fell into deep thought. Indeed, the watch's face seems to be different. Who would normally use black glass for a watch face? "I've repaired it," Sasha grumbled. "Of course it's a bit different." Klein thought for a few seconds and said, "All right, you can keep it safe for a few days." Though the watch held great value to him sentimentally, no object, no matter how important, could compare to the real safety. Even if it was lost because of this, he would only have a heartache and regret, not remorse. How understanding. "And I haven't had any problems yet." Lushan felt relieved and grateful, and gave Klein a meaningful look. "I'll make a move first." After getting Klein's permission, she turned around and walked where Jianna and Li Ming were. She suppressed the joy in her heart. "I succeeded! I did it! I completed a real important task!" As Lushan's steps became light, she felt her body becoming weightless. Her throat began to tighten as if a rope was wrapped around. Her breathing becoming labored, her knees and elbows as if they were filled with glue. "Something's wrong. I'm going to die like this." In this state, Lushan heard the thunder. She found that things had become dark and oppressive, with the passing pedestrians all appearing distorted. "This is a dream," Lushan suddenly realized, a realization tinged with sorrow. At this moment, she saw Jianna, still clear, and Lushan clearly saw the worried expressions on her face. Once again, feeling her life was still real, still meaningful. She gave Jenna another smile with some difficulty. Her body became blurry and those background characters seen in a dream. Amidst the rolling thunder, Zhou Mingrui also noticed the blurring and distortion of the people around him and the darkness and unreality of the train station. The light came from the side, and behind him, Sasha, from the passage leading to the parking lot. Radiance gathered there as if forming a door. Klein grabbed Sasha's forearm, no longer caring about the luggage, and ran to the door of light. After a few steps, he felt Sasha stop, becoming heavy, making it impossible to drag her. "Sasha's been affected too?" Klein turned his head, looking at his sister. Sasha had already grown transparent, thin like a mirror, and a reflection of a person in a mirror. Sasha's dress had merged with the mirror. Klein saw himself in the dark mirror. Short black hair, deep brown eyes, non-prescription glasses, soft contours. As Klein clearly saw the image in the mirror, the him in the mirror smiled. The Zhou Mingrui in the mirror began to overlap with Sasha, who had regressed to a purely female form. Zhou took 2 steps back and heard a bang of a gunshot. A bullet tinged with dull blue-green shot out from nowhere, hitting the mirror that Sasha had become. Certain death. Franca had lent the inevitable gun to Jenna. The mirror shattered, falling to the ground, and all of its fragments losing its luster. Joe turned sideways and saw Jenna holding a brass-colored revolver, not at all distorted or blurry. He didn't recognize her. Jenna nodded to Joe, trying to show her best goodwill. When Joe witnessed this mirror self revealing that smile, he had already judged this to be an enemy. This led to a series of thoughts. They must have used Sasha. I must find out what happened to the real Sasha. Based on this judgment, Joe held no ill will towards Jenna, who had shattered the mirror, believing that she was a friendly force. Seeing Joe return a friendly nod, Jenna hadn't time to feel joy. Hadn't had time to think about how to save Lucian when she suddenly felt the dream rejecting her as her thoughts became sluggish. She was being kicked out. She was rapidly becoming a marionette. Just as Joe was about to ask the woman opposite what to do, he saw her face contort, as if in great pain. She's being attacked? An invisible attack? Joe looked around, searching for enemies. He then saw the pillars and screens throughout the rail station become illusory and becoming dark mirrors. All these mirrors reflecting Joe's searching figure, but without exception, they all were cold smiles. They suddenly stopped and all looked to turn to Jenna. "It's too late," they laughed. Sasha is the medium, and the medium pointing to the mirror world. Too late? Jenna froze. Has the Joe Mangrovi in the mirror world already been born? Is the Celestial Worthy about to use this? On the opposite side of the railway station, Lumion, who had never formally appeared, took out Erides. Such good music. I love it. The second question. Asked quickly, words appeared. Are you a weapon or a medium? Medium, words appeared. How do you want to use me? Certainly not as a brick to throw at someone, Lumion laughed. At a 4-way street in the Jingshu Dongfang community, inside the Mute Art studio, Anderson stood in front of the easel, bored. At this moment, he heard the rumbling thunder and felt the light suddenly dim and the environment become oppressive. Anderson stood up and walked to the window, finding the pedestrians below all a blurry mess. My task is about to be completed, he smiled. As he spoke, he raised his hand and snapped his fingers. Boom! A violent explosion occurred deep within the building, with flames rising from various places. In an instant, the newly renovated uninhabited motel was engulfed by raging flames. As the thunder sounded and the sky darkened, Queen Mystic, maintaining the illusion of LEMMiNO, picked up the phone and dialed the private number of Chief Yagates. After connecting, she said, "I have received personal threats. I need the best protection." She was reporting to the police. "It may be due to my father transferring power to me. I need protection." Bernadette emphasized the word protection. The chief was silent for a moment and said, "Okay." In the gloomy oppression, most people in the dream became blurry, but this didn't stop them from going online, using their phones or checking information. Just then, whether videos, books, novels, or messages, everything suddenly collapsed into pure snow-like static. These countless points rose, forming a huge information vortex. The online world had malfunctioned. Oh my god, Hepa, it's been so long, Hope. Good callback, man. Inside Mushu Hospital, the blurry, distorted patients, doctors, and nurses and orderlies who were still clear simultaneously raised their heads, looking at the ceiling. The dark, gloomy sky split open and the pure, brilliant sunlight poured down, shining directly on the main building of the hospital, piercing every dark corner and every underground level. In the low-hanging clouds, countless silver electric snakes intertwine into flamboyant lightning. Following the path curved out by the lightning struck the main building of the hospital, submerging it in a dazzling, intense ocean of thunder. Inside, the mirror world transforms a railway station. After answering Eridess's question, LEMMiNO didn't rush to take action and asked the third question: how can we get the owner of the Star Dreams provision store to provide the necessary help for Franca? Pass Franca's mirror substitution through me, through the mirror world, to her. Then the mirror Eridess asked in return, don't you have it? I do, LEMMiNO laughed, and took out Franca's mirror substitution and pressed it onto the glass surface. At this moment, when the Dream City was shaken and the character image blurry, the restrictions on his power lessened, and he had recovered to almost the level of a saint, which is why he could use the mirror world to quickly send an item to the Star Dreams provision store, which was over 10 kilometers away. After doing this, LEMMiNO glanced twice at Jome and Grui, who looked grave and constantly moving away from those dark mirrors, then gripped Eridess. It's time. He activated the aura of Alista Tudor in his palm. The brand that had turned dark red due to the fusion of the unknown boon became prominent, showing signs of melting back into his blood. But that mad, violent, bloody aura didn't dissipate, firmly suppressed by the deathly pale force. Of course, after LEMMiNO's last use of the corpse wax V-candle and the pale dark red hand had shown extremely subtle signs of fusion. Now, at that point of fusion, it strangely darkened, carving into slightly, showing unusual changes. LEMMiNO reached his right palm into the traveler bag and took out the card of blasphemy he had received from the Emperor. He pressed this demoness card tightly in his palm against the aura of Alista Tudor and the Underworld Taoist seal, against the chilling depression produced by the fusion. Almost simultaneously, LEMMiNO felt it bone-chilling cold and horror. He didn't need to look with his eyes. An image formed in his mind. His palm had gained a pinhole formed from pure darkness. As expected, the demoness card should be used here. If I didn't have it, I'd have to light the corpse wax candle, which would not only be rushed in terms of time, requiring the ritual to be held earlier and adding considerable risk, but the effect may not be as good. LEMMiNO extended his hand, holding the card towards Eridess, and his hand penetrated this ancient mirror. But he didn't enter himself. It was more like using the mirror as a medium for casting spells, and in the next instant, a scene appeared in LEMMiNO's mind. A dark void behind the area of the mirror seemed to be covered in an invisible curtain, beyond which were eyes watching from beyond the outside world. And countless things flowing. The area behind the mirror corresponded to Eridess, which was somewhat special to other mirrors. Then LEMMiNO saw the curtain covering the void silently collapse, peeled off as his hand entered. The entire darkness was collapsing. What appeared in LEMMiNO's eyes wasn't the pair of eyes he had imagined, nor was it a surging river, but a viscous liquid that seemed difficult to describe, containing all colors. These liquids seeming to form an illusory ocean. Although LEMMiNO hadn't truly seen or touched it, just sensing it made him feel his body and mind were beginning to fall. Then the illusory ocean was pushed aside by an invisible force. Following this path through the ocean, LEMMiNO's consciousness went forward, seeing the grey stone wall, seeing the blood flowing on the stone walls. The blood formed sentences to test out the correct plan. He decided to let the Red Priest and Demoness from the same era meet, guiding them to combine. This shall bring about a destined accident. And the scene froze, and Eridess in LEMMiNO's palm emitted an ancient chaotic radiance. Yongdu, high-speed rail station. Klein had already turned and started running wildly. But no matter where he ran, the pillars, walls, and floors would all turn into mirrors. and the mirror in him was always smiling. And the him in the mirror was always smiling. After running for a while, Zhou Mingui stopped because his head, feet, and all surroundings had become mirrors reflecting him. Give up, every Zhou in the mirror persuaded. They were not only persuading, but also reaching their hands out of the mirror surface, grabbing at Zhou, leaving him nowhere to hide. Zhou didn't give up. In the narrow space, he dodged left and right, barely avoiding the first round of grasps. Dare, how's it going, man? At this moment, a pure darkness, covered with greyish fog and hiding a vast city, appeared prominently in the surface of the mirrors. In the blink of an eye, the greyish-white fog in the vast city collapsed towards the depths of the darkness. The darkness came alive, surging to the mirror surface, surging to the mirror Zhou Mingui. He tried hard to grab Zhou, wanting to escape from the mirror, but so quickly it was hard to succeed. And the darkness surged to the area behind the mirror, swallowing one Zhou Mingui after another, freezing that chilling smile. This all-engulfing darkness filled all the areas behind the mirrors, and all the mirrored Zhous disappeared. The darkness continued, breaking through the mirror after mirror. This rail station began to collapse inch by inch as if the dream was gradually shattering, the fragments falling into the darkness. You're a vegetarian, dear? I couldn't do it. Stomachache? Like as in you're a vegetarian because you get stomach aches if you eat meat, or you have a stomach ache right now? At this moment, Jenna found the dream's rejecting force and the rapid marionetization had both weakened. She approached the blurry Lushan, trying to take her out of the railway station. As for the damage, the dream would continue after leaving the station, and what would happen to Lushan, Jenna didn't even think about it, nor could she. Unfortunately, the distance between them was too far, and before Jenna could get close to her, she saw the darkness swallow that area, and Lushan faded. The last scene she saw was Gianna rushing towards her anxiously, and she smiled in relief. She opened her mouth, but couldn't say anything. She had disappeared, and at the same time, Jenna heard her say, "Remember me! Don't forget!" Jenna stopped, and before the darkness surged over, she left the city with the help of the remaining dream-rejecting force, responding, "I will remember you forever." Lumin, who was far from this darkness, sighed in relief after seeing Jenna's expression become confused and bewildered. Then he watched expressionlessly as the dreamscape Jenna was dissolved by the darkness as Zhou Mingui ran wildly in the station, trying to get away. And the surge of that darkness slowed as if suppressed and weakened by the dream's consciousness, and finally, after swallowing more than half of the station, the darkness stopped just meters away from Zhou. And the city stabilized. And even the remaining passengers and those meeting them became clear. Zhou ran a few more steps, confirming that the danger had eased. He then saw the handsome Li Ming walk out. Is the upheaval over? Lumian had already put Eridas and the Demoness card back in the traveler bag and answered, "I'd like to say that things are over, but unfortunately they are not. Not yet." So you're saying 5 more chapters and the volume's over? Kami, what have I done to you? Can I ask? Why are you trying to get my channel deleted? Like, genuinely, why? Kami is literally going, well, it hasn't gotten deleted yet. Bug it, not my channel. Bug 'em. Can I ask? What, Jenna's not dead? Jenna's fine. What are you guys talking about? What are you talking about? Yondu Station, half collapsed and fallen to the darkness as if swallowed by the abyss, and the other half restored to stability and normalcy. In this environment, Zhou looked at Lumion and said, "You know?" "Yes. Theoretically, I should have waited for Anthony and Ludwig to wake up indigenous, hear words like 'be careful of Zhou Mingrui' from his mouth, and be kicked out of the dream. And though the indirect influence of the major arcana cards received the corresponding information and know the truth. But Peng Deng's hint had already given me the answer. The 6 of us will be able to find your new channel? Genuinely, yeah. I won't even ever get monetized again. If this channel gets deleted, I'm genuinely done with YouTube forever. On the surface, he was hinting that he was the childhood friend of both Mr. Fool and the Celestial Worthy, but the reverse is also true. Zhou Mingrui is Peng Deng's childhood friend and the friend of the original God Almighty. The two aspects of his identity are unified and merged together. In other words, Zhou Mingrui is both Mr. Fool and you, Celestial Worthy. Zhou Mingrui, wearing a faint smile, raised his chin. This also aligns with the Eridess's hint to be careful of the night, but during the day, Mr. Fool's power takes the hint, and Zhou Mingrui equals Mr. Fool. At night, you become rather active. And Zhou Mingrui will be closer to you. So even just approaching you without any hints, there would be risks. Yeah, we figured this part, obviously. Based on this judgment, any hints, help, or awakening given to Zhou would both benefit you and him. And Peng Deng is a symbol of the original God Almighty. It doesn't meet Zhou Mingrui at night because if you two were to meet, there's a good chance some bad things would happen. He is formed from that bit of power left in that magic mirror and the part of the spirit and consciousness that Grisha brought to the dream. He can't compare to me in here. If we were to meet, it'd be rather advantageous for me, but problematic for him. Zhou didn't deny that his current self was the Celestial Worthy. Lumion showed a bit of understanding. Oh? His real name is Grisha? Adam's real name is Grisha? Did I not call that? I feel like I called that. Am I crazy? Did I not call that? Ukrainian researcher? Makes sense. Damn, you're trying to tell me he caused Chernobyl? You're telling me he's the guy who caused Chernobyl? And then decided to become God Almighty? It's a joke, Hope. It's a joke. Relax. Relax. I'm just gonna go fucking LARP, relax. Chill. Combining Peng Deng's true hint, Chief Yagate's state, their fundamental reason for the dream restriction, and the other facts, I guessed what had happened before and your current situation when I entered the dream for the 3rd time. Several years ago, shortly after Mr. Fool had fallen asleep, he probably used himself as bait to lure you out, and sealed you into Zhou Mingrui's manifestation formed from his spirit and consciousness. From a mystical point, this symbolizes the fusion and opposition of you both, while in reality, you are indeed within his body, indeed restricted by him, reflected in the dream with a similar symbolism. Continue. I'm listening. Dude, okay, listen. Listen, Klein is still my goat. Still prefer him to way more. Still prefer him way more than Lumion. But it's kind of goated though. Lumion's kind of being so goated. Even a part of the original creator of the universe or whatever is being like, Damn, he kind of cooking with these theories, though. he's giving Prime Whiz in, like, Volume 4 a little bit. Not the same, but he's giving that same energy. It's like, damn, hold on, he's cooking. This also explains why only Peng Dang and Zheng Yuajia from Zhou Mingrui's original character relationships appeared, while others came from the identities of Klein Moretti, Gehrman, and so on. He doesn't want those feelings buried in him to be exploited by you. Of heart, the softest ones, to be coarse. For those you don't know, there's nothing he can do. For those you already know, there's nothing he can do. Peng Dang and Zheng Yuajia didn't originally exist either. Zhou nodded. They were created by Grisha using the Dreamweaver ability and Zhou's subconscious cognition. I see. No wonder Zhou froze when mentioning other friends. That might be the true reflection of Peng Dang. Afterwards, Mr. Fool might have made a wish or used some other ability to remove powers from you in the city. To remove Beyonder powers from the Dream City, allowing Zhou to live as a normal human, and during this process he may have been fooled by you, forgetting who he was, forgetting many things. Overall, this ordinary human state is very advantageous to him, because he can become a great existence step by step from an ordinary human, even though this has inevitably been influenced and eroded by godhood. He still retains a part of his humanity, the part that is intense and fervent, but you are naturally great and possess no humanity at all. When the battlefield between you is fixed on an ordinary human with only humanity in an urban environment without powers, you are suppressed, restricted, and weakened, and humanity triumphs over godhood, do we not? Interpreted symbolically, the fact that Zhou, who has merged with Mr. Fool and you, is an ordinary person, symbolizing the humanity gaining the upper hand and godhood suppressed, temporarily negligible. At that time, I was influenced by that drop of river water and couldn't do more. I could only accept this, Zhou admitted rather frankly. When you recovered, you started influencing the city, either with the help of other beings or by you summoning your original believers, bringing items involving the supernatural, like those vending machines, onto the stage. Oh, dude, Evernight is so clutch! He said, fuck, he got me, bro. Fuck, he got me. He suppressed me for but a moment. And he got this huge win over me, and now, ever since then, I've been stuck in this body. I've been cuckolded. I sit here in this body, cooked. One of their important meanings is to gradually guide Mr. Fool, letting him recognize that this is a world with supernatural abilities. Recognizing from sequence 0, step by step, all the way to godhood. As this recognition and sequence level changes, the godhood will grow stronger, suppressing humanity bit by bit. According to the plan, the longer we linger in the city, the more we use abilities, the more beneficial it is for you. Something you didn't tell Zaratul and the others, fearing it may invite interference. Similarly, you didn't want to wait long, so you induced Zhou to consume the assassin potion to let Roselle enter. You wanted to use the method of inviting a stable mirror person to split Zhou, equivalent to opening a gap in that seal that Mr. Fool constructed. Once the mirror person is mastered by you, you can walk out of the mirror, replace the original, using truth as falsehood and falsehood as truth. As for the gender change, that's just smoke and mirrors, I suppose. But unfortunately, the original God Almighty foresaw this before his fall and left arrangements spanning several eras, leaving behind Eridas. One of his greatest functions in the depths of the mirror world is prepared for you. And the primordial God Almighty is like, I'm dying, but bitch, I'm still gonna try to fuck you even in death. Get rolled. It's like, what? What the fuck, dude? When I initially woke and saw that magic mirror, I guessed what kind of things would happen, Joe said. Yes, you should have prepared. However, of all the things Amon said, this is the one I agree with most. Filter out the complex and see the fundamental. So what is the most fundamental fact now? Lumin stared into Zhou Mingrui's eyes behind the plain glass and said, Wait! Is that why Erdes is so friendly to Klein? Because he was like, yes, my lord, I have waited an eternity. I was created for the purpose of serving you. That's why he's a dick to everyone, but he's like, yo, my creator created me to serve you. That's what... It makes so much... I thought it had to do with the Cipher castle, but it's like, no, I was created for the sole purpose of helping you. Oh my god. That makes so much sense. Lumion stared into Zhou's deep brown eyes behind the glasses and said, From my birth I see a pillar like you. I don't remember this. But no, that makes so much, because I always thought like, oh, because I don't know if you guys remember this, but I originally thought like, oh, Erdes is like somehow a part of Cipher Castle, and so because Klein is now the owner of Cipher Castle, he's like, yo, let's go. But now it makes so much more sense. It's actually like he was created for the sole he's like, listen, you are just gonna wait for billions of years or however fucking long, you know, this has been. And just be like, and eventually there will come a man to fight the one I despise, and your purpose in life is to assist him with what he needs. 10,000? What, years? That's it? That's not that much at all. The most fundamental fact is that I stand in front of you saying so much, yet I have not been kicked out, nor am I being marionetized. You had Sasha arrive in Yangdu early, not only to disrupt our rhythm and prevent the original God Almighty's arrangements from becoming a reality, but to prevent interference from others wanting to create a long-term stable person for Zhou before they were ready, showing you still attach great importance to this matter. Extra preparations, if possible, are better left unused if they're not convenient. I watched as things deteriorated step by step, and you truly found an opportunity to awaken, and had Anthony and Ludwig go wake up Antigonus, which actually no longer had much significance. I asked Queen Mystic to help direct the dream's main subconscious's attention, and asked Diano and the other gods to confuse the information world and contain other places to attract your attention, to make you feel that you would win, to invest more power and stakes to this. This way, when the original God Almighty's plans erupted through the medium of Erdes, you would be weakened to the greatest extent. But that's what I don't understand. It's day right now. Why is Celestial worthy in power? Like, Why is he in control, right? It's day. It's like, what, noon? It's like the peakest of peak day. Why is Celestial worthy? Shouldn't it be Mr. Fool here? Not actually Mr. Fool, because he's sleeping, but you know what I mean. This way. So I, who entered the dream for the third time, came before you, spoke the truth, and still wasn't kicked out. You don't have this ability, do you? Don't you think you're like bait right now? Joe laughed. I know. You're waiting for your extra preparations to arrive. Or how could I have this opportunity to speak with you? But I, too, am waiting. And at this moment, a brilliant smile appeared on Lumien's face. Haven't you noticed that one of my companions is missing? So many things erupting now. It was just to distract you, to make you overlook her. The major arcana holder's guesses weren't wrong, and nor were their attempts. Dream City, inside a movie theater. Franca, sitting second row, watching the screen in front of the Great Pirate 3. At this moment, her body, faint and indistinct as if a sketch had been erased around her, the spectators becoming blurry and slowly stabilizing. Franca had checked earlier and found that due to the Great Pirate 3 about to end its turn, only 2 theaters were showing it for noon, so she specifically took a taxi to one, the furthest one from the train station. Franca had checked earlier and found, and her search information had been lost in the current chaos and disorder. Hearing the thunder recede, seeing Gehrman on the bow of the ship appear, Franca stood up. She walked to the front of the projection room in a few steps, and before a few spectators could protest, she took a deep breath, stretched out her palm, and pressed it against the screen, her figure becoming ethereal, leaning forward and entering that screen. The return of Gehrman spells the return of Mr. Fool. Let's go! Just like when Lumien entered the surveillance world, after Franca's vision recovered, she found herself standing on the deck of a three-masted sailing ship, surrounded by the undulating waves. In front of her, at the bow of the ship, stood a young man wearing a silk top hat, a black long coat, clean-shaven with a lean, angular face, bright eyes behind gold-rimmed glasses. Would it be this way? Okay, in fairness, I spelled it exactly the way that the chapter did, okay? Gehrman Sparrow, the protagonist of the movie, quite similar to Joe, but more stern looking. Gehrman turned his gaze to Franca, his eyes cold and piercing. Franca stepped back, forcing herself to stand firm. Gehrman observed her and asked, "Are you Tracy Zelder?" Tracy, the name of the Vice Admiral ailment. He recognized me as a demoness. Franca glanced at her. Franca glanced at Gehrman's left palm hanging at his side, covered in a layer of human skin. I am a subordinate of the Demoness of Black. She is the child of the Demoness of White. We are not in good terms. The God's honest truth. According to Franca's understanding, lying in front of Gehrman was a very low-yield behavior. Once exposed, he would attack like a storm. Moreover, Franca wasn't clear what souls were actually grazing inside the creeping hunger at the moment. She only knew that in Madame Magician's embellishment story, the glove at this time could allow Gehrman to use mind-reading ability of a psychiatrist, so lying was indeed a low-yield behavior. Therefore, honesty was best. What is your purpose? Gehrman asked. Lumion had said originally that Gehrman in the movie is exactly the same as the real Gehrman. The author of the movie was Madame Magician, and recreating the book, she inevitably incorporated her own understanding of Gehrman, and at that time, she knew that Gehrman was an avatar of Mr. Fool, driven by her subconscious. She wanted to integrate some of Mr. Fool's personality and choices, so to convince Gehrman to accept such a thing, one had to approach from this angle. And at this point, she blurted out, "We are the same, you and I. We are both transmigrators." Gehrman was holding a revolver in his right hand. "We are transmigrators in time. Actually, it's not transmigration, but being frozen in a special space by a great existence, only to be returned to reality after thousands or tens of thousands of years, or perhaps longer. You are like this, and as am I." Before Gehrman could refute, Frank added, "The name Gehrman comes from Bloodborne, and Sparrow is the surname of Captain Jack from Pirates of the Caribbean, spliced together to make your name." After saying this, Frank felt the pressure from Gehrman's gaze lessen. "The reason I've come to find you is that the end of the days has arrived, and you have inherited the legacy of the great existence that froze us. You are a key part in facing the apocalypse. Are you willing to leave here and help me face the apocalypse? Do you believe me?" Gehrman looked at Franca without uttering a word, making her nervous. After a moment, he replied, "I can give it a try. But if I find out you are lying..." In a flash, he raised the revolver and aimed it at Franca's head, and bang, a bullet flew out, grazing Franca's head, hitting the cabin. Gehrman lowered his revolver. "I have mirror substitution," Franca grumbled internally. She approached Gehrman and grabbed his arm. "I'll take you now." Yes, her assigned task was to find the currently playing Great Pirate 3 movie and enter the screen when the dream appeared abnormal but was about to stabilize and bring Gehrman to the city. Wouldn't such a movie character dissipate quickly after leaving the screen and entering the city? Moreover, my despair potion hasn't digested. What if the dream shatters? At this moment, Franca's heart pounded. She didn't hesitate long, gritting her teeth and saying, "Trust him. Trust that the Major Arcana holders will help me. At worst, I go down a level." In her inner voice, Franca, holding Gehrman's arm, moved to the outside of the screen. Inside the railway station, Joe looked at Lumion and said, "You still chose the Gehrman direction?" His voice steady without a hint of fluctuation. "Yes, but it's not antigenous, nor GIU. It was all meant to mislead us." Franca went to watch the Great Pirate 3. It should be one of the last screenings. She's a demoness of despair and can enter the screen to bring out Gehrman from the movie. Lumion emphasized the name Franca as if wanting the celestial worthy to remember it. A movie character can only maintain its form for 3 seconds after leaving the screen. What about adding the Gehrman dream manifestation woven by a dream weaver? The numerous Gehrman anchors in reality and the widely spread stories and poems about him? Lumion asked. Trier, in a luxurious villa. Madame Justice, who was monitoring the changes in the city, stood up. "The anomaly has begun." Her voice tense, her heart seemingly not as calm as her exterior. Magician rose from the sofa and opened her arms. A brilliant, dreamlike starlight gate appeared in the bedroom where Franca was sleeping, appearing in the shadowless sunlight. This door opened heavily, revealing the faint greyish fog. Within the fog, a city of indeterminate size appeared. Magician didn't stop, forcing open another door, an opening on that greyish fog. At this moment, her face had become semi-transparent, with strange, brilliant, shimmering worms wriggling and crawling. Justice saw the movie theater where Franca was through that hole in the grey fog, then closed her emerald-like eyes, raised her right hand, and began to weave the dream manifestation of Gehrman. On the other side, the sun placed the Fool's sacred emblem on the already prepared altar and began to pray to the angel of redemption, Gehrman, as normal, repeatedly praising him. As a demigod of the sun pathway and the Pope of the Church of the Fool, his prayers and praises quickly brought changes to the altar. Points of holy light appearing surrounding the giant sacred emblem of the Fool, making the surroundings more sacred and solemn. At this moment, Hermit, who had arrived nearby, removed her glasses, imitating Gehrman, placing her hand on her chest and bowed. And a scene appeared above the altar. In the scene, Gehrman, wearing a silk top hat and black coat, walks step by step across a desolate land in the environment illuminated by flashes of lightning, followed by a line of people. The mystical reenactment of the Mystery Prior Path, Gehrman's heroic rescue of the citizens of the City of Silver and the Moon City, considered mystical knowledge, had become a spell woven through mystical reenactment. But because many people knew of it, its power was very weak. But Ma'am Hermit's purpose in creating this path of salvation spell was not to deal with enemies or help. Her sole aim to solidify the image of Gehrman. As Gehrman's sparrow arrived at the altar due to the mystical reenactment, the points of holy light crowned him, swelling slightly, emitting the voices. Praise thee, great angel of redemption. Praise you, herald of Mr. Fool. Save me from suffering, great Gehrman Sparrow. I confess to you, seeking redemption. My idol is Gehrman Sparrow. I wish to be a great adventurer like Gehrman Sparrow. Voices related to Gehrman echoing in layers, stabilizing and materializing in front of Gehrman on the altar platform to an extent. Meanwhile, at the entrance of the Dream City opened by the magician, Madame Justice successfully wove a Gehrman, wearing a silk top hat and a long black coat, inside the movie theater where Franca's figure had appeared. Throughout this process, she didn't feel strong rejection from the dream. However, as soon as Gehrman's dream manifestation took shape, it only lasted for 3 seconds before uncontrollably collapsing and dissipating. Seeing this, the spectators applauded. They believed that this young woman entering the screen was part of the magic performance. Dude, it's so peak. Chris, it's so peak. Wake him up. Wake up, you dumb bitch. You could be in a coma by now, but it is time. They need your help. Madame Justice didn't give up, once again weaving a new Gehrman. At this time, silhouettes appeared in the thin grey fog surrounding the Dream City. They swam towards the passage opened by Madame Magician, bringing violent tremors and contraction to the door. Magician struggled against this, not letting the dream close, nor letting Justice's attempt to weave Gehrman be interrupted. Mr. Hangman had already put down his liquor. Turned his gaze to this direction, his hand holding a blasphemous card. The Tyrant card. Thunder crashed and layers of intertwining silvery white lightning struck the silhouette in the grey fog, making them writhe and struggle before dissipating, unable to approach the passage opened by Madame Magician. Justice remained unaffected, weaving Gehrman's manifestation. In the altar, once again, Gehrman's image, created by the mystical reenactments, was stabilized by countless anchors. Mr. Star, who had been standing by the window, walked step by step as he recited, like a storm petrel soaring without yield, knowing the tempest, mastering the field, compelling them to peace, brewing calm into rich release. As the poem echoed, the sunlight in the room dimmed as if clouds had drifted in, and Gehrman on the altar closed his eyes, entering a slumber. He too was dreaming now. It was a nightmare, but also hope. Seeing this scene, Mr. Moon, who had been enduring the scorching sunlight, let his black cloak rise behind him like a bat spreading its wings. He flew to the starlight gate opened by the magician, entering that illusory passage and arriving at the hole leading to the Dream City. He didn't try to enter again, but turned again, reaching his hands and creating an illusory, hazy door inscribed by the numerous mystical symbols. This was the door of summoning from sequence 3, High Summoner of the Moon Pathway. Mr. Moon wanted to summon Gehrman, the current Gehrman, on the altar. In the next second, he opened his mouth and began to chant the corresponding honorific name. The Blessed of the Spirit World in Cipher Castle, the mystery stemming from ancient times, the witness of an extended history, angel who redeems mankind, protector of the impoverished children, the great Gehrman Sparrow. In this kind of summoning directed at the false, the entire honorific name must be recited. At the subsequent incantation also echoed at that illusory hazy door as it swung open, revealing a boundless darkness dotted with stars. But to Mr. Moon's disappointment, Gehrman on the altar only turned to the side with no other movement. The power of reality seemed to be preventing this false event. In the railway station, half in darkness, Lumion looked at Joe and said, "These all come from Mr. Fool's arrangements. Guided by fate, since Mr. Fool sealed you, the celestial worthy, with the self-image of Joe. Before he truly gained a significant advantage, awakening Mr. Fool would be equivalent to awakening you. So what we need now is not awakening, but creating the world out of thin air. Only in this way will he not be a product of the merged consciousness of you and him, but purely him, uncontaminated by the likes of you. His source is the believer anchors of Gehrman, the cognition of Gehrman by a large number of humans in the real world and the Dream City, the understanding of Mr. Fool by the major arcana holders not involving you. This is equivalent to helping Mr. Fool, dragging you into slumber together, then creating a highly related identity that can stably exist with the help of others to wield authority on his behalf. The gradual strengthening of this identity will help him gain an advantage using corresponding authority and ultimately sealing you and awakening him. This is the correct interpretation of the prophecy. The awakening of the world spells the Fool's return." This is what you have been wary of all along, which is why you replaced the dream manifestation related to Gehrman, and had your subordinates infiltrate the Church of the Fool, trying to make the final formed Gehrman point to you. In that case, it would become the awakening of the world spells the celestial worthy's return. What if your judgment and choices are all wrong? Joe laughed. If they are, then they are. I never thought I would succeed in all that I do. On the contrary, I have always been a failure. Failure is not scary. The failure of the major arcana holders have paved the way for me, and our failures will also eliminate wrong answers for the future coin holders and point the correct direction. This will delay things for you. In the time to come, there will be batch after batch of coin holders arriving, standing on our shoulders to climb, looking until the true apocalypse has arrived. This is similar to the saying I learned in this city. Success doesn't have to be achieved by me, but I will contribute to its achievement. In this moment, the celestial worthy fell silent. In Trier, in the luxurious villa in Franca's bedroom, as Madame Justice suffered another failure weaving Gehrman's dream manifestation for the third time, while Mr. Hangman continued using lightning to prevent those black shadows in the grey form from approaching the door, Mr. Moon repeated the incantation once more. The Gehrman on the altar with his eyes closed swayed, wanting to respond to the summoning, but unable to overcome the power of reality. At this moment, Mr. Star's emerald eyes, transparent worms, crawled out, forming a complex symbol representing deception. Finally, another angel has arrived to help. Madame Judgment approached the altar and said, "Truth recedes here, while illusion grows stronger." And suddenly the air in the room solidified. Gehrman's figure disappeared from the altar, then crossed that hazy summoning door, appearing in front of Mr. Moon, appearing in the passage opened by Madame Magician, appearing outside the hole leading to the Dream City. Then Gehrman Sparrow's destination was also deceived. This character, created jointly by mystical reenactment, numerous anchors and nightmare power flickered as it flew to the Dream City. Suddenly, in the dark void outside the grey fog, silhouettes of people emerged, bypassing the lightning storm, charging one after another to the door opened by Madame Magician towards Gehrman. At this moment, no major arcana holders could spare a hand or stop them in time. Madame Judgment couldn't help but look out the window. Madame Tynker and Madame Sharon had arrived, guarding against the accident. Would they be able to act in time? A moment later, Madame Magician saw a light-colored mist spreading out from the fog. Within the mist, there seemed to be a wilderness, a river. Those figures flying at Gehrman crashed into the mist and disappeared. Oh, thank God. Finally, Gehrman, carrying numerous anchors, arrived inside the movie theater in the Dream City. At this moment, Madame Justice had woven Gehrman's dream manifestation for the third time, and the two Gehrmans attracted each other and merged. "Gehrman Sparrow!" The audience in the movie theater started shouting. With these shouts, the newly appeared Gehrman became clearer and noticeably stable. But he still kept his eyes shut, as if he didn't have a soul. The repulsive force... Well, if he doesn't have a soul... We do have someone who can grant humanity. It has been known to be done. The repulsive force of the dream descended, and at this moment Franca, pulling Gehrman from the movie, ran out of the screen. Then she saw another Gehrman in front of her, also wearing a silk top hat and black coat. Franca had no time to think of anything as she got a glimpse of Gehrman behind her, starting to dissipate. She gritted her teeth and followed the guidance of her demoness of despair intuition, pulled Gehrman from the movie to the one in front. In the next second, she let go of the arm of Gehrman from the movie, watching as he attracted and drawn by mystical forces approaching the other Gehrman and merging. Terrifying noise came from mid-air. This time, it didn't sound like thunder rumbling, but closer to the collapse of the dream. Franca made a rather surprised sound. Inside the railway station, Lumion, looking up at the rumbling sky, then smiled at Zhou, who was standing at the edge, just one step away from falling to the darkness. Their attempts seemed to have succeeded, using countless anchors, mystery prior powers, and nightmare powers to create a Gehrman in reality, then finding a way to send him to the Dream City to combine with the Gehrman manifestation woven by the Dreamweaver. It wasn't my plan. It was a plan they had come up with long ago, but never had a chance to implement. My contribution was to suggest that Gehrman's manifestation from the movie was the earliest to appear, produced out of thin air, and that a demoness of despair could bring him out of the screen. And I'll try all three. Then I had another contribution, I suppose. Creating such an opportunity. Zhou listened calmly, without any emotional changes, and suddenly Lumion smiled and said, "My despair potion has been fully digested." He said, "Bro, I know you're hiding this shit, but I can feel your fucking sadness." The fucking, the true creator himself, fucking, dude, not even a pillar of the universe despairs my existence. I truly am a go. Okay, I'm gonna be really annoying. I need to go get some water really quick, okay? I have like 4 more chapters and I don't have anything else to drink. Give me like literally 1 minute, okay? I'll be back in 1 minute. Alright, I guess we're back.
It's time to fight again.
Alright, good night, Hope. Inside the movie theater, Franca let out a surprised "oh," because she felt her despair potion digested. Had Lumine's plan succeeded? Although she wasn't clear on what exactly Lumine intended, she remembered how Lumine saying that once her potion was digested, it would mean the operation had achieved its expected purpose. Mr. Fool would awaken to an extent and the dream would collapse. Franca looked at Gehrman to her side, then saw the roof of the movie theater collapsing inch by inch. But the corresponding heavy object didn't crash to the floor and the seat, instead falling to the void. At the same time, the white light emanating from the few audience present flying to Gehrman's body. Franca realized what these white lights were: impressions, cognitions, and understanding of Gehrman. As the dream approached collapse, these audience members revealed their illusory nature, and the corresponding memories split off from their own, becoming anchors and information to nourish and enrich Gehrman's image. From different parts of the dream city, more similar white lights rushed. It really worked. Franca joyfully raised her head to look at the heights no longer obscured by the roof. The originally dark sky had collapsed to large patches, revealing terrifying deep blackness and thin grey fog. It was like a building whose walls had crumbled in an earthquake, but with the beams and pillars present, the skeleton still intact. Inside the railway station, after hearing Lumine say his potion had been digested, Zhou smiled and said, "That's good." Mr. Fool? Zhou nodded. "It's me now. You all did very well. If you hadn't sealed away most of the Celestial Worthy's power, including his thinking ability, we'd have no chance." We're back! It's him! Michael! I have awaited your return for so long. He's back! He's fucking back, baby! Oh god, I'm gonna cry. Stop. It's a fucking book. Get it together, man. You're a grown-ass man. Jesus. God, no. Lumine was still carefully using sealant to describe Zhou's original state, but the truth may not be so. He had been saying this all along, mixing a bit of falsehood to the truth as he told the Celestial Worthy his guess, his judgment and plans. Besides wanting to delay time, there was also the intention to reinforce the Celestial Worthy's cognition in this regard. Of course, whether this was true or false after today, this would become true. Zhou shook his head and smiled. Relying on myself alone, it would have been extremely difficult to restrain him. Without you all, the outcome would have been completely different. For example, if you hadn't driven out Zaratul in advance, today's operation would definitely have had setbacks, and the awakened world would have pointed to him. And if it weren't for the help of those friends in the Western continent, he would still have a chance to turn the tables in the end. Hey, unhinged. Yeah, me neither, buddy. So the Celestial Worthy's backup plan, the preparations made for the arrangement left behind by the original God Almighty, was intercepted and prevented by the certain existences in the Western continent. My original plan was just to race against time, using the concealment of the goddess to complete the fusion of the three Gehrmans before his plans could take effect. The Celestial Master? Or the Underworld Taoist? Indeed.
without the efforts and the groundwork laid by the major arcana holders before me. Even if we had deciphered the meaning of the symbols today, we wouldn't have had time to create the character of Gehrman, only watching helplessly as the situation tilted in his favor. Similarly, without the hints from Peng Deng and Amon, we might still be exploring directions, with the Celestial Worthy's fatal blow about to arrive. Seeing Lumion was very clear-headed and rational, Zhou nodded. Lumion didn't go on to talk about the contributions of gods or people like Stiano, Leodero, and Anderson, and asked, "Mr. Fool, can my sister, can Aurora, really be resurrected?" Zhou looked at Lumion. With her soul fragments sealed inside you, not dissipated, if you were beyond of the seer pathway and had advanced to a miracle invoker, then with my help, you could graft one of your resurrections onto her soul, allowing her to truly return. But now, you can only rely on the resurrection of the demoness pathway to separate your sister in the future. Seeing Lumion fall into thought, Zhou added, "You can no longer change pathways, and after your advancement to the demoness of despair, Aurora's soul fragments have already fused with you. To an extent, if you were to regress back to the beginning using the sun pathway, her fragments wouldn't withstand it and would dissipate. Will the resurrection achieved through the demoness pathway be an essential resurrection, or a true resurrection?" Yes. But wishes are often distorted, and the way they are realized may not be what you wish. Just like when you saved my believer back then, I noticed you and foresaw that you would play a role in the matters of dreams in the future, so I gave you the aura of the grey fog in my imprint. But I didn't expect it to be fulfilled in such a way, and my actions were also part of the prophecy. So that old man was your believer? Without the aura of the grey fog, perhaps I never would have met Aurora, never had that life in Cordu, and Aurora would still have been noticed by the April Fools, still troubled by Roche, Louise Sampson, and maybe wouldn't even have a chance of resurrection. I understand. As long as it is a true resurrection, I can accept any form of realization. Zhou nodded and said, "You can give me that bottle of the Besemirit Women's Spring processed by Mr. Isaac now." As Lumion took out the bottle, he asked, "Mr. Fool, now that Gehrman has been born, you don't need to drink this anymore, right? The Celestial Worthy is sealed within you, so him drinking is the equivalent to you drinking. And besides, this only has a very weak effect on true gods." I still need to sleep for a while longer. It's so Gojo over. No, Clyde, no! I can't do this without you anymore. Clyde, no! Now is the opportunity to fuse with the Celestial Worthy and better resist him, and this bottle of spring water is the medium. Gehrman Sparrow will become the Fool, embodying a bit of my will until I fully awaken. Still need to fuse with the Celestial Worthy? Yes, both fusing and resistance. This is currently my only path. Doesn't that mean? Lumion closed his mouth, remembering the knowledge he knew. The imprint of the original creator within the characteristics was indestructible, including those of the original God Almighty and the Celestial Worthy. Sho smiled. No matter how I clinch victory, no matter how much you help me in the long run, the one who will ultimately win this will be the Celestial Worthy. Seeing Lumion fall silent, Zhou continued. Most humans know they only have a few decades of life and are destined to pass away in the not-too-distant future. But this doesn't prevent them from enjoying their lives, from doing meaningful things, from being happy, suffering, sad, moved, satisfied. You have also seen from Roselle's experience that during this time, there is a lot of truth within dreams, that hope lies hidden at the end of despair, and that a moment's brilliance may point towards eternity. Resisting every day, being eroded, trying to fuse, continuing for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. Wouldn't that be tiring? Wouldn't it be like before, when you still maintained self-awareness, but found yourself smiling strangely in the mirror? It would. When I fully awaken this time, except for the strongest and most intense parts of Zhou Mingrui and Klein Moretti's emotions and humanity, everything else might no longer be the me of now. As for whether it's tiring, of course it is. But there's no choice. Someone must do this, right? Damn. Klein said, but honestly, say what you want, even that's so good. Even Klein right now said, he can take everything from me, but my emotions and humanity will remain mine. I do not care if it is the fucking original creator himself. He will not defeat those. That's actual fucking... Oh, that's so goated though. He said, I don't care if he never dies. He will not overcome those. Is it worth it? Lumion asked. Zhou looked at him and suddenly took a step back, falling to that darkness. He didn't dissolve quickly like the other dream characters, falling to the darkness, but sank slowly, as if in seawater. Zhou raised his hand and brought the bottle of the samurai and women's spring to his mouth and drank it. As he sank slowly, he looked up at Lumion, showing a gentle smile, and said, "It's worth it." He said, to protect humanity, to protect those I care about, I will do whatever it takes. Everything is worth that. It is worth everything. Every bit of sacrifice and pain and everything else I pour into it, I would do it 1,000 times over to protect those I care about. After saying this, he winked at Lumion. Not at all like the lofty Mr. Fool. Lumion watched Zhou sink to the darkness. worth it. In the movie theater, as those streams of light emerged, as Joe disappeared to the darkness, Gehrman raised his head. He opened his eyes, his gaze piercing through his glasses. With this, the sky of the dream city shattered, and all the buildings collapsed, and the images of characters like Grimm and Zheng blurred as they dissipated. Franca was confused. In an instant, woke up. She was in a room full of people and saw the brilliant smile of Madame Justice that came from the heart, and Madame Magician drinking wine. Saw clear and brilliant radiance, and outside the window the sunlight was just right. As the dream collapsed, Lumin withdrew his gaze, leaving the edge of that darkness and walking to the disintegrating railway station. He wanted to take one last look at the city. Suddenly he noticed a figure leaning against the wall at the position where the radiance converged. The figure wore black armor stained with what looked like fresh blood, with fiery long hair. His face young and handsome, with 2 faint scars on either cheek and a vivid red banner displayed between his brows. Unlike the other manifestations that were blurry and dissipating, he was not as clear as Lumion, but had an illusory spirit. Lumion didn't need to ask who this was. Medici had arrived. "You come to wait for me?" Lumion asked. He was prepared to leave this place with the collapse of the dream. Medici left the wall and stood up. "If you're too stupid to understand the hint, I'd have been the one to replace you on the stage." Too weak. You're still too weak. You know what this is giving me right now? You know what this is giving me? This is giving me Itachi looking at Sasuke and being like, "You don't have enough hatred." And it's like... After this, Medici raised his chin and said, "I know your experience. I'll give you a chance. I'll come hunt you down after you become an angel. No need to thank me. This has nothing to do with pride. The pride of the war pathway isn't used against enemies." Medici didn't give Lumin a chance to respond and walked into the passage, leaving the station and the dream. "You waited till the end to say that? You must have also achieved some unknown goal here, huh?" Lumin turned to the side, casting his gaze to the darkness. His biggest question now was where the hell is the primordial demoness? The fact that Franca advanced in the basement of the Mushu Hospital indicating the demoness indeed had a manifestation in the Dream City, but in matters involving the special mirror world's greatest horrors, God Almighty and the demoness card, she hadn't appeared at all. Before Lumin could think any more, the railway station collapsed. He first felt a sense of weightlessness as if falling, then opened his eyes and woke up. He saw sunlight penetrating the curtains and a large amount of dust in the air, and at the same time, singing, praising, and conversations. From the next door over, Lumin lay quietly in bed, feeling the springiness of the mattress and the warmth of the covers, not wanting to move. These guys are actually bums, I'll say it. Not one of these fucks is like, "Bro, should we go check in on Lumion? You know, that guy did, like, he did a thing, he did like a thing or two here, like, I don't want to say, like, he was crucial, like, he did a couple things, but, like, we should check in." No one. Everyone's like, "Let's fucking go! Start drinking! Immediately!" Half an hour later, on the living room on the first floor, Madame Magician said to Lumion, Franca, Jenna, Anthony, and Ludwig, "Mr. Fool has achieved an initial state of awakening. We shall fulfill our promise. You have all done splendidly, deserving the most generous of rewards. The result of our discussion is to do our utmost to help you advance one sequence." One sequence? At this point, the fact that they didn't say, listen, man, the Tarot Club, you have our eternal gratitude. Whatever you need for as long as we can provide it, we're here to help. They said, I'll give you one sequence. Best I can do. Genuinely, Forrest is a fucking stingy, lazy bitch. Oh my god. Jenna nodded without hiding her desire. Thank you. One sequence is a lot. Excess. Stop it. Lumion, Franca, and company had no objections. Madam Magician looked around and said, of course, I'm a bum bitch, and I will need a couple of days to borrow the stuff from someone else because I am poor and have spent all my money gambling and or drinking. Hence, I need to go rob a few banks and or scam a few people. Then I will be able to get you your stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm making this up. What does that actually say? This can't be. Of course, this may need to wait a few fucking days. Of course. Fucking genius. I'm a fucking... I could just write this book. I could just write this fucking book. Because Mr. Fool's initial awakening will inevitably cause many changes that need to be dealt with promptly. We are all busy. At this point, Magician looked at Lumion as if to confirm. Do you wish to become a demoness of unaging or a war bishop? A demoness of unaging. Lumion didn't hesitate. Hearing Lumion's answer, Franco remembered the demoness's card of description. Demoness of unaging, bizarrely difficult to kill, skilled at resurrection. Skilled at resurrection. You really don't wish to wait even one more day, huh? At this moment, Lumion raised his hand, palm facing the ceiling. There, in addition to several dark brands and a patch of pale skin, there was now a pitch-black pinhole. You would take forwards as a reward? I think you mean punishment as the word. Seer, I know English isn't your first language. The word you're looking for is punishment. It's okay. It's not your first language, I understand. Madam Magician nodded and said in a few days, go to the treasury of the Blue Avenger. There may be items related to the demoness of unaging there. If not, we'll ask Mr. Azek for help and go to the depths of the underworld again. There must be a demoness of unaging characteristic there. After Madam Magician left, Lumion leaned back against the sofa and smiled. Now it's time to sunbathe. I want to go see the real Lucian, Jenna said. Okay, Frank agreed. Alright, Lumion agreed. In the evening, Lone Kingdom, Tinjin City. Jenna, Franca, and Lumion sat in the roadside cafe, watching two figures, one big and one small, approaching from a distance. The larger one was about 30 years old, with brown hair tied up in a bun, wearing a thin gauze brim hat. She wore a long green dress, somewhat girlish, but leaning towards maturity. She had a pretty face, holding a paper bag of white bread in one hand and holding the hand of a 3 or 4-year-old girl who looked like a little princess. This was Roseanne. Compared to the Lucian in the dream, she was noticeably older, her demeanor more stable. Lumion, in his female state, focused intently on Roseanne and her daughter as they passed by. After Roseanne and her daughter passed, 3 demonesses' gaze shifted, following the 2 figures from behind. The golden red glow of dusk fell upon Roseanne and her daughter, and the evening breeze carried their laughter. Mommy, what's a hero? They heard. A hero is someone who protects others. Why do others need protection? Why protect others? Why? A few days later, Monday, noon, Lumion and the others met Madam Magician. The Major Arcana holder sat down on the chair opposite the tea table and said to Lumion and Franca, "You are both demigods and have made great contributions, both qualified to draw a Major Arcana holder. Mr. Fool will allow it?" "Yes, but as a team you can only draw 1 Major Arcana card for now?" Who will draw? Excuse me? The contributions these two had to wake up Mr. Fool, they get one card. What the fuck did Forrest do to become a member of the Major Arcana holders? What? Franca looked at Lumion, hesitated for a few seconds, and said, "You draw." She really wanted to see what she could draw and thought about the identity of the Major Arcana holder card was impressive, but thinking about having to take the responsibility for a bunch of affairs as a Major Arcana holder, often having a brainstorm, she got a headache and decided to let Lumion take lead. "Are you willing to draw?" Madam Magician said. "I'll draw," Lumion said. Madam Magician said seriously. After becoming a Major Arcana holder, 2 of Cups, 7 of Cups, and 4 of Swords will all transfer to your jurisdiction. A Major Arcana holder symbolizes not you personally, but the forces you represent. I understand. Only then did Madam Magician take out a deck of tarot cards and spread them out. "You can draw one. We'll draw a duplicate?" Frank asked. "Spirituality will guide." Lumion glanced at the tarot club on the tea table, extending his hand, and took one, turning it over in front of him. What met Franca in the other's eyes was a large wreath of green plants intertwined, standing inside a wreath. The World card. They all looked at Lumion. He drew the World card? Although Garamana points to Mr. Fool, the legend of Mr. World hasn't disappeared yet. The magician pondered for a moment and said, "Draw again." Eh? This time he drew 2 cards and placed them on his left and right palm. After staring at the cards, he smiled with his face and said, "Left for male, right for female. I'll take the one on the left." With that, he turned over the card. The card was a king standing on a chariot. 2 lions, 1 black and 1 white, pulling the chariot. The chariot card. Sorry, youth, I didn't see it until I already read it, and then I didn't want to cheat you. Because I read a couple lines ahead, so I saw your message, but I had already read it, so I was like, ah, fuck it. Not bad. Madam Magician stood up. "Welcome, the chariot. Mr. Chariot?" After Lumion responded, Franca asked, "Can I see what the card on the right was?" "You may," Madam Magician nodded. The Empress card. As expected. Madam Magician sighed and said, "Wait in your room at 3 p.m. today." Why do you think he drew the World card? That's a good question. What would the World card represent? Okay, let's hold on. What does the World card represent? The World tarot card. Because he is the man who sold the world. Way back in the day, we used to do these all the time. I don't. There's gotta be like 2 of you who were there way back when. Fucking, I feel like Kami's the only one who was here way back in the day. The World card in the tarot deck has a dancing figure at the center. The dancing figure at the card has 1 leg crossed over the other and a wand in either hand. Chris, were you here way back in volume 1 and 2? It's been a while, but maybe. Okay, there, you were not there that early. Stop it. Unhinged might have unironically been there when little he did show up. I was here chapter 1 I didn't even stream chapter 1 excess. You're a fucking liar, bro. She symbolizes balance, evolution, and movement. Well, that would be perfect then. Balance. Yin and yang. Without yin, yang cannot grow, or whatever the fuck. That's perfect. Evolution. You know, balance makes sense. Him having to balance his future in the 2 pathways. I was here just in the future, so not there is what I'm hearing. Hey there, join chat around chapter 1000 of LOTM. Thank you so much. I rest my case, Your Honor. I am, of course, also the Your Honor in this scenario, but fuck it, alright? Lumion, holding the chariot card, sat in an armchair, patiently waiting. Suddenly, chaotic and terrifying sounds rang in his ears, and then a greyish fog appeared before his eyes. A second or two later, he found himself on the long bronze table. He's in the Tarot Club meeting! Surrounded by tall, majestic stone pillars, Lumion immediately saw Madame Justice, Magician, Judgment, Hermit, and the lady opposite the Temperance faction wearing a black court long dress. She's a major arcana holder? Lumion also noticed Mr. Hangman, Mr. Sun, Mr. Star, and Mr. Moon. At this moment, no one was seated at the head of the table, and at the foot. This is Madame Temperance. And this is Mr. Chariot, Madame Justice introduced. At the obviously female Lumion. Just then, a huge stone chair at the top of the bronze table. A figure took shape. He was within the grey fog, his figure blurry, allowing Lumion and the others to only see the top of his top hat and black trench coat. Looking at this both familiar and unfamiliar figure, Madame Justice took a deep breath, stood up, curtsied with a slight bent of her knees, and said, "Good afternoon, Mr. Fool." It's so peak. I think we stop here. I wanted to go 2 more chapters, but I think we end here. I feel like this is it. First time not the first time Koi's made me feel something, but shit, man. Can you read the first sentence of Volume 7? Sure. First sentence. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Fucking hell, that's a bad omen if I've ever seen one. Jesus. Who would win? Indestructible personality of the creator of the universe with billions of contingency plans? Wage slave that gave away 5 coins before passing out? Da da da. But have you considered the wage slave did something pretty cool? Klein waking up out of God's corruption, barrier weakening, Adam trying to create a new great old one. Amon? What the fuck have I done? Can I put this as my new background? Can we do this one? I know it has nothing to do with the story, but it's so cool. Well, maybe it has a little bit to do with the story. Can we do this one? I love this. This is so cute. Okay, I'll put this one before tomorrow. Dude, all the Koi art budget might have gone to that one. To Roselle. Damn, those blue eyes are piercing, eh? Jesus Christ. Nice. Nice touch. Yeah, nice touch. What the fuck? Destination I don't know. Tomorrow is sure. Yeah, that sounds good. She got the badonkadonks. She got it like that, Seer. She got the badonkadonks. Who the fuck said this was a PG-13 stream? Excuse me? Fucking not me. We were talking about fucking... Do you remember when Plague brought up Rudius for like the first 40 minutes of stream? If that guy's in here, you can't have anyone who's under 18 in the stream, bro. If we bring up Rudius, then no one under 18 should be in stream. Alright guys, that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow for volume 7. We got what? 150 chapters? Not even? Give or take? That's not bad at all, eh? Bye guys.